Hello everyone, it's SpawnPoiint and welcome back to another video. So it's actually been a year since I picked up my Tesla Model 3 and that was in November 2019. And during that time I have shared loads of videos about my ownership so far to this channel. But I wanted to give you a long-term opinion on the car and what my honest thoughts are. But let's just start by saying that this is the best car that I've ever owned. I have zero regrets and I would definitely do it all again. But let me now explain why. So this is currently my only car. This is the only car in the house. And it's been this way for the whole of 2020. Now that means at no point have I had the luxury or the need to jump into a petrol car to complete any journey. Now a lot assume that owning an electric car means it either needs to be a second car or kind of a town only car. But honestly, this is my only car. In fact, it's my family car that's been used for holidays, it's used for work, and it's used for the odd school run as well. So this car will cover 250 to 300 miles easily on one charge, and there's only been 2 occasions I think it's been where I've needed to do more than that in a single day, and to be honest that's when I was driving my 1,000 mile road trip for my annual holiday trip. So I've had no range anxiety, no charging issues and no flat batteries. So first up, I'm just going to jump straight in and I'm going to tell you how much it has cost me to run this car for the entire year. So for the last 12 months, how much has it actually cost me? Now, I obviously did not anticipate how little that I would travel in a year. Now, obviously that was out of my control. That was due to lockdown, but this could easily be the lowest annual mileage that I've ever done. And it comes in at 8,160 miles. And that equates to about 680 miles per month on average. So I either charge the car at home where I can track how much it costs through my energy app, or I can charge at public and Tesla chargers. Now this isn't 100% accurate, I'll be honest, but it does give you a rough idea of how much it's cost me over the last year. So the first 2,000 miles, well that cost me £92, and that's because I wasn't on the cheapest of tariffs. And then I switched over to Octopus Go and I moved on to their 5p evening rate. And since then I've covered about another 4,660 miles of home charging, and that cost me about £61. And then away from home, I've charged the car at Tesla and public chargers, which again has given me about 1,500 miles in total. Now these cost me nothing at all, as in I paid nothing at all for any public or Tesla chargers. And that's a massive thank you to the 180 people that have used my Tesla referral link so far, because it means that any visit I make to a Tesla charger, it literally costs me nothing. So in total, to cover the 8,160 miles this year, it's cost me about £153 or about $200, and that's in electric. But if I had swapped to my energy provider sooner, which I should have done, it would have only cost me about £92 in total to cover the 8,000 miles. So that's about 1.8 pence per mile. So insurance wise, I'm with Churchill here in the UK, and last year's premium was just £450, which is definitely one of the cheapest yearly premiums I've ever had. And this year, to be honest, I was really nervous thinking, what is my renewal going to be? And it came in at just £378. I did shop around, but Churchill actually came in cheaper than any other quote that I could find. And then looking at other running costs like servicing, tyres and brakes, well, that cost me nothing at all. So nothing this year needed to be done to the car. And because it doesn't follow a normal service structure like you would get in a petrol or diesel car, it's not really something that you need to factor in the same way. So over the last 12 months, it's cost me about £603 or $800 to keep the car on the road, and that's to cover 8,000 miles. But let's say it wasn't lockdown, let's say I covered 15,000 miles in the last year. Well, that would have cost me about £750, and that's including insurance and charging. And then as I mentioned in a previous video, for every person that uses my Octopus Go referral link, well, we both get £50 credit to our account. So technically, I won't need to pay to charge my car forever. So over the last year, I've added a handful of accessories to the car. Nothing crazy, just OEM accessories that I feel enhances the look without looking modded as such. So I have created a video to cover all of my mods, so if you want to check that out you can, but it also includes things like the spoiler that I added, as mine's the long range, not the performance, and then I've also added things like vinyl plates, a console wrap, a screen protector, metal pedals and various other items as well. So again, if you want to check that dedicated video out, you can do so now. So during the ownership so far, I have had 3 service visits to Tesla, and that's due to faults, to be honest, and now I have covered 2 of these in previous videos, but there's a new one as well that I'm going to cover today. So the first one that I had was my wipers weren't working. So I'm not sure if you remember that. I mentioned that in my 6 month later review. So the wipers just stopped working completely. And this was only 2 weeks after picking the car up. It got collected on a trailer. It got sent back to Tesla in Leeds. They had it for about 3 days and they fixed it. And it came out, it was due to a loose cable. So not a great start to ownership, but obviously it was something that was fixed quite early on. And the second visit, which I did document in a dedicated video on this channel, was due to the door alignment issues. So my driver door wasn't straight, and if you looked at it from the side, you could tell this from the chrome trim across the top or the bottom of the door itself. So I booked it in and they fixed it within a couple of hours. Now, although they did return it to me after the first 90 minutes, and the fault wasn't fixed at all, and it actually took them a second attempt until I was happy with it. And the final visit that I made with them, which I've not actually spoken about until today, so this is the first time you're hearing it, is I was getting a clicking and a knocking sound coming from the front wheels when turning. So have a listen to this and see what you think. So what was happening here was, as I was turning the wheels, whether I was going around a roundabout or around a corner, for example, there was a loud sort of clicking noise, and it was consistent, and it did it whether I was turning left or turning right. So what I actually did was I recorded this, and this is the actual clip that you're hearing now, is the clip that I sent off to Tesla themselves. They had a listen to it, and they said, yep, we know exactly what that is, bring it in and we'll fix it. So I did. Now my local service centre is a 100-mile round trip, so it's obviously not close, it's not local. Now, they actually mentioned the reason for this was due to a lack of lubrication on the drive shaft. So it required a full strip down to rectify this. Now, this was 3 months ago, and to be honest, this sound has not returned. So obviously I'm hoping it never comes back. But now that I know what the sound is, I've recorded it, I know what the fix is. Hopefully, if somebody in the future ever hears this, that you know what the problem is, and you should know how to fix it as well. So 3 faults during the first year, not a great start really. Now all 3 could probably have been prevented with better quality control, let's be honest. So the loose cable on the wiper, well that probably was a plug that wasn't fully engaged. Now as I drove it over the first couple of weeks, it obviously just came undone. The door alignment, well that could have been picked up by somebody at the service centre before I collected it on that day. That's what should have happened, but we know that never happens. And the drive shaft grease, well, okay, maybe that was an issue, that was a fault that couldn't have been prevented. But either way, it's frustrating. Now these issues are nothing new, I've seen them documented online already. And obviously it's not unusual for having a car the first year and having faults with it. It's frustrating, but to be honest, it's how they handle and they manage you during these problems is what you actually remember. Now I'm going to tell you some things that I really like about this car, things that I think makes owning and driving it just awesome. So I think it looks really good. I think it looks modern, a little bit futuristic as well. The lines of the car, the front end, the lights themselves. Honestly, I really like walking up to this car and thinking how good it looks. Now I know it's not for everyone, I know it's not a flashy looking car by any means, but yeah, I really like it. And it's great to see how many people, even a year later, still ask me about this car. Either what is it, or what's it like owning an electric car? And I always say the same, I've always owned and enjoyed owning petrol cars, but I really am fully converted to an electric car now. And I love the app control that you get with it, so whether you're wanting to check the battery percentage, or start and stop a charge, or if you want to mess about and flash the lights or beep the horn, I can also turn the heating on, so if I know I'm going to be using the car later, instead of sitting in a cold car waiting for it to warm up, I can switch the heating on and even turn the heated seats on as well. If the alarm goes off, I get notification on my phone, so I can always go and check it if I need to. And I think Sentry Mode is incredible. So if you enable the option for Sentry Mode, it will then record all 4 cameras around the car. So should somebody get too close or should somebody knock your car, for example, it will then record all 4 cameras and it will save that as a log. And when you return it, you'll have a notification on your screen and you're able to watch it back in the car itself. So you can see, should somebody have dented your car door, for example, you can watch that back there and then. And if that car is still there, you've got the registration plate, you know exactly who did it. So I think this is a fantastic feature. So as it's got Netflix, YouTube and Spotify, there's loads of things to keep me and my children entertained while we're parked up or charging, for example. And during this lockdown, it's actually meant that while we've gone and waited at the local supermarket for a click and collect, for example, we can just sit there in the car watching Netflix while the shopping has been brought out to us. And I love the power on this as well. So sure, this isn't the performance model, this is the long range, but every time I put my foot down, even a year on, it feels rapid. The 0 to 60 in this is about 4.4 seconds, so it's pretty fast, especially when it's pretty much lag-free as well. And you can really feel the force when you floor it. Now, I am considering buying the acceleration boost, which is about £1,500. Now, I might pick this up early next year, although right now, this really feels quick enough. Autopilot is great as well, so the ability to just let the car drive itself, it steers, it brakes, it accelerates, is brilliant, honestly. And I've used it so much more this year than I ever thought that I would. And getting regular updates is such an underrated feature, it really is. So not just the new games or apps that they keep adding, which is obviously fantastic. I'm talking about the bug fixes or the new features that actually improve your driving experience. Now, I must have had, maybe 6 or 7 updates in the last year, maybe more, I've not really been counting. But they don't require a service visit. You don't need to go into a service centre to have these updates done like you would with a traditional car. You just get a notification on your phone saying there's an update ready. You press start, and then 25 to 30 minutes later, that is done. You've got a brand new update on your car. and regenerative braking as well. So the fact is I actually drive everywhere with just one foot on one pedal, and it's awesome. Now as soon as I let off the accelerator pedal, the car starts to brake, and I can then feather that pedal so it either slows down faster or more gradually. I really love this feature. And the last one is the ability to charge from home. It takes me 15 seconds of my own time, and the next morning I've woke up and I've got a fully charged car ready to go. So they were the features that I like most about the car, but let's be completely honest, there are a few that I dislike as well. And the first one is the road noise, or the wind noise you can hear when you're inside the car. Now, it's not as quiet as previous cars I've owned or that I've been in. Now, I'm not sure if that's because there's no engine noise. So obviously you can hear absolutely everything. You can hear the tyres on the road, and you can hear the wind as you're driving by. Now, I'm not sure, again, if it's because there's less sound deadening, so it really is just less quality. It's not really annoying at all, and to be honest, most of the time I've got the music on anyway, so you can't really hear it. Now, it's also a shame that it didn't come with a power boot or a power trunk. Now, I know the refresh Model 3 does, and I know that I can fit one retrospectively myself if I want to, but it's still annoying that it didn't come with one. And to be honest, I can't think of anything else. Even those two reasons I've just given you now that I dislike about the car, I'm kind of clutching, to be honest. But let's face it, if you buy something that you dislike, or you buy something that really is making your life miserable because it's full of faults or there's full of issues that you dislike, then to be honest, just sell it and move on. But overall, I am really happy with this car. So if I ordered again today, would I do anything different? I really don't think I would. I like the car, I like the power, I like the looks, I even like the colour. To be honest, at the time of ordering, a couple of weeks before I ordered, the free colour was black. And I didn't want a black car, I wanted a white car, so I was almost willing to pay for the difference. And just by chance, within a few weeks before I actually placed the order, the white cars then became the free option, so that was great for myself. I might have opted for the 19-inch wheels, maybe, but to be honest, I'm happy with the choice that I made as well. Now, the refresh Model 3 looks great. Do I prefer it? Yes, I definitely do. I think the improvements, other than the centre console, are all better than what I have now. But I wouldn't have had the pleasure of driving this car over the last 12, nearly 13 months. And this channel probably wouldn't exist as well if I had waited any longer. The only car that I can imagine replacing this one with has to be another electric car, something like maybe a Model X or Model S if I stayed with Tesla, or hopefully other manufacturers over the next 2 or 3 years bring more and more electric cars out that the choices then are far greater than what we have today. So that's my first year of ownership, and it's been a great year. Okay, I've had a few faults along the way, and they've been rectified obviously under warranty, and it's cost me very little to run and maintain this car. I mean, literally, £500 or £600 for an entire year, including insurance and running costs, is just insane. It really is. I think previous years, when I had the BMW that I used to have, that used to cost me £460 a year just in road tax. And then when you add in insurance and you add in petrol and all the rest of it and servicing, I mean, you're talking thousands and thousands a year. So it is insane, really, what you can save by running an electric car instead. Now, if you're looking to buy a Tesla, well, you can use my referral link in the description, and we'll both get 1,000 free miles added to our account. And if you're in the UK and you want to swap over to Octopus Energy and move on to their Go tariff like I'm on, there's a link in the description. We'll both get £50 credit onto our account, and you get to make use of the 5p energy rate on an evening to charge your car. And you've just made it to the end of another Tesla video, so thank you for sticking with me. Please don't forget to like this video, as it really helps me out. And if you drop a Tesla UK in the comments, I know you've made it right to the end of this video. I'll give you a thumbs up, as I really do appreciate it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Until next time.